Robinson, and I'm doing my persuasive speech on why I think living together before marriage is a good idea. When I told my parents that I was moving in with my boyfriend, they totally freaked out. They're more traditional and believe that you shouldn't live in sin, so they automatically thought the worst. So I'm here today to shed some light on the subject of cohabitation and kind of change your mind if you think that it's really awful. My first point is when you live together, you have no surprises. So you really get to know everything about them. When you are just dating somebody, you may only go to their house when their house is clean, or when they're feeling good, or when they want you to see like the best sides of them. And when you guys live together, there's really no hiding anything. You see them at their most comfortable, so you see them when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're mad, when they're sick. If you guys get in a fight, you can't really just not answer their phone call. You kind of can't just like leave your house because you share the same space, and in that case, it kind of forces you to work it out, and that's a big part of it. You just share each other always. And according to My Tango, they say that living together is the ultimate test. So for the reasons I stated above, you really can't just run away, and it shows you everything. So it's definitely an ultimate test to your relationship. Next, a good reason also why it's important to live together is because you share the responsibilities. So you definitely have to figure out what works for you. You have to figure out teamwork because, you share chores. You share, if you have pets or kids, you share the responsibilities of taking care of them. You share the responsibilities of cooking, cleaning, whatever. And also finances. You see kind of how they manage their money, how they, what they like to spend their money on, what's important to them, and you also can figure out your bills to make them cheaper. So instead of having 2 apartments, you have 1. Instead of having 2 internet bills, you have 1, and you can just really work on your foundation of how your household would be ran. Okay, and next, marriage doesn't seem so scary. So for me, this is a big one because my parents got divorced when I was in like 4th grade. So for me, I take marriage seriously. I want it to happen one time if it can, and so it's not something that I want to rush into. It's not something that I want to do with somebody that I don't completely know. So for me to live together with my boyfriend, it makes me feel more comfortable that I know all sides of him, and it's not going to be scary once we do get married because I know everything. And now these days, it is very common to live together. So when my mom was growing up, when my grandparents were growing up, it was totally out of the question. Everybody who's traditional is totally against it. But now it's very common. 48% of people cohabitate, and this is from a survey from NBC who asked people from 2006 to 2010 if they agreed or disagreed, and 48% said that they agreed and that they didn't. Also, according to the Huffington Post, 40% of cohabitating couples actually do get married within 3 years of living together. So when I was researching this, they said that it's not a good idea because people don't usually get married because they don't think it's necessary after you already live together, and 48% actually do think it's necessary. So that is from the Huffington Post. And lastly, I did a poll around campus asking people, I asked 10 people why they broke up with their spouse, why they broke up with their ex, just to see what they said, because a lot of people say that they break up because, they didn't know something, or they couldn't stand their habits or whatever. So I just was curious and asked people around campus why they broke up, and 4 out of 10 people said that they broke up with their ex because they could not stand something about them. So one person said that their boyfriend was messy and she just wasn't into that. One person said that they were irresponsible with their money, like they really liked to gamble, and she just wasn't into that. One guy said that his girlfriend snored and he was totally against snoring. And somebody else said that they broke up with him because they had addictions that they were not aware of before. So that's all something that I think stood out to me, because if you lived together, you would have known all that stuff. And lastly, I think it's important to put on this slide that you find out really what you're willing to sacrifice. So when you live together, you have to kind of figure out what works for you guys. And you might have to sacrifice your me time. You might have to sacrifice going out with your friends. You might have to sacrifice, if you don't like to clean, you might have to clean up for your girlfriend or boyfriend because they like a clean house. So you have to really know what you're willing to sacrifice. And lastly, in conclusion, I think cohabitation before marriage is a good idea because, for one, it shows you the reality of what your life would really be like if you were to marry this person. You share responsibilities, like I said before, and it takes the unknown out of marriage. Also, I think it is just fun in general. Thank you.